but a card that I believe, if it was available in those 3 colors, would appear in decks. If Ashiok was black-white instead of black-blue, I think you would see it in Abzan lists.
Yeah. Elvish Mystic, let's start it up. Round number 9. Vess with the man acceleration. Neuman going to try to keep up. He's got a force. He'll pass the turn back. We have seen some green-red monsters already today. This is a different take on the deck as Mystic will come in for 1. But the plan is still the same. Play some big creatures, some main deck copies of the Testing Tactics. We don't see those often, but
that is true. I mean, this deck is way different. It's labeled green-red monsters. That's the closest analog, but this is an entirely different deck.
5 mana. Are we going to the air already? Yes, sir. Stormbreath Dragon in for 4.
Oh, slow down.
Well, he wants to get to Carapace too.
Yeah,
I understand.
We just met. You know?
I understand.
Oh.
This is the kind of start I would be interested in. It's no Thundermaw Hellkite, but they don't make them like they used to.
Stormbreath Dragon's pretty close in power level.
Pretty good card, yeah. Take a look at Neuman's hand. He's got an Abzan Charm over there, but protection from White's going to mess things up.
If that was a Thundermaw Hellkite, no big deal.
Yeah, true. There's a Siege Rhino. Little gain, a little drain here for Neuman. So he's going to try to catch back up. Vess will draw a card. Looked like it was in their copy of Sylvan Caryatid, though he does have a copy of Hornet Nest in hand. In for 4.
And Andy's giving up so much in his game 1 against control lists with these Hornet Nests in an effort to improve his beatdown matchup, that if he's able to win this game 1, that's a big upset and bodes very well for his chances of winning this match.
Now you want to protect his Xenagos.
That's not a bad way to do it.
That's how you do it. The nest. Come on in here, Rhino.
Now, remember, Joseph with 3 main deck copies of Drown in Sorrow, so he does have some pretty good answers to the nest, but I do not believe he has one currently.
That'll put the brakes on. That'll put the brakes on in a big way. Yeah, you see, Vess is showing off his Hornet Nest to Neuman.
Joseph's hand is enough of a mess that this Abzan Charm may just have to draw some cards.
Yep. Might just be stuck. I mean, it's not taking care of the nest. We know that much. And it's not taking care of Stormbreath Dragon either.
Not a lot of good to be gained with an attack just yet. I mean, then.
Oh, finally. Yes. It's the first time it's happened. We get to see the nest crack.
Now, this is not the end of the world here for Joseph because the Siege Rhino tramples.
Yes.
But it's still Joseph's entire turn, and there's some bees left over.
Had he get Xenagos off the board, and he did, but now there are bees. That's going to draw. Let's see
I'm
what he
surprised
wants to
it's
do.
taking us this long to finally see a nest get broken.
Yeah, normally people just don't attack or they kill it.
Yeah, that's the problem.
So I mean, it kind of still serves its purpose, but
yeah, it's not like people could be like, all right, yeah, sure, you get 3/1/1 flying touchers or whatever. It's moat or they kill it.
Yeah. Here's an attack. 4, 5, and 6. Follow. Give me another nest. All right. Yeah. Just a couple copies of Caryatid to pass the turn back. But that does mean that Vess is right in line to Monstrosity, his Stormbreath Dragon.
He has 7 mana. Joseph's hand, I believe, is just lands.
That's not great.
Yeah, it's just lands into Caryatid. He can bluff. He can make a good face of it by just passing with his mana up, and Andy may not be willing to risk the Monstrosity there, but I believe that Andy has the kill.
Deploy the Caryatid here. Put down a Sandstep Citadel and just pass the turn back. Look at that Death Touch animal holding off the large Rhino.
Yes. A scene played out in Mother Nature many times over.
Mm-hmm. Time for some more beatdowns in the air. The air is just where you want to be in this format, I tell you. Yeah, let's activate Monstrosity. I don't think you have it. That's what Andy Vess is saying. He's right. He's going to win game number 1 here over Joseph Neuman. Green and Monsters up a game here over Abzan mid-range. 4 Hornet Nests. Maybe that's what we're supposed to be doing.
And that's a huge victory for Andy here because I'm pretty sure they're not for this matchup. And he's got a sideboard that allows him to make some pretty big upgrades.
And we're going to start here on the Abzan mid-range sideboard first. We'll find another end. A Thoughtseize, a Garruk Apex Predator. Hero's Downfall, a Villainous Wealth, 2 Nissa Worldwaker, 2 in Hostilities, 2 copies in Negate, and 4 Boblade. So the blue splash is minor, but you see that it can be pretty good in some certain matchups with Negate and the main deck copies of Ashiok.
Yeah, and I think here, just got some good options here. You can bring in some more removal. I like going to the end hostilities, in fact. On top of the Nissas, the Hero's Downfall, and the Utter End. So just some good removal into the sweepers. I think I'll do some work in this matchup as well.
What do you see on the other side?
4 Lightning Strike, 2 Arc Lightning, 3 copies of Reclamation Sage, 4 Goblin Rabblemaster, 2 Perforos God of the Forge. I really like Goblin Rabblemaster in this matchup as a straight upgrade over the Hornet Nest slot. I think the 2 copies of Perforos could be good in this matchup too. Not the easiest card for Obzon to deal with, and incremental points of damage is very good against this deck.
Player shuffling up for game number 2. We will talk about the Star City Games Invitational Qualifiers, which is something that, a lot of players have really taken advantage of, especially those headed to the Players' Championship, like Kevin Jones, like Logan Mize. Playing these things, not only do they give you open series points, you get other sweet stuff too.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, for starters, as the name implies, if you're looking to qualify for invitationals, this is the best way to do it at your local level. Stores can run them. There's all different types of tiers for the program. You see some of the top 8 in participation prizes that you receive for playing in invitational qualifiers, exclusive playmat, dice bag, pins, SCG premium vouchers to read content on the website. So if you are interested in playing these events, which are fun on their own and a great way to step your game up and qualify for the invitational, head over to StarCityGames.com, check out our schedule with all the events.
A lot of IQs, a lot of different ways to go about doing them, but they all give you sweet stuff. And sometimes you even see us wearing those pins. That Acorn Mystic pin, we've worn that a couple times.
Yep. This is the first time that we've had it available as part of the slide here, so we can show where that program is coming from. But all the stuff you see on the screen there, that's part of participating and top 8ing invitational qualifiers.
Game number 2 going to be underway here in just a bit of round number 9. Our named player is not having the best weekend, so our leaderboard looks like it's going to stay the same, at least for one more day. But that just means some players get to make a name for themselves. We get to see some new interesting decks, which is definitely what we have here. This Obzon mid-range deck. I mean, it is an Obzon mid-range deck, but it's just got a little bit of a blue splash, so a little bit of dabbling as 4 colors can be done in Standard. Brad Nelson did prove last week, and then Greer and Monsters, well, we've seen that before, but 4 copies of Hornet Nest?
I love Andy's list here because he's not taking things for granted. Sometimes you see things like a random Hornet's Nest hanging out in someone's deck, or a random one of threat. Andy's list here, the creature base, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 28 creatures. And then the spells, 4 Xenagos, 2 Chandra, 3 Cetessan Tactics. Cetessan Tactics, not a card you see in all of these lists. You often see in the sideboard, rarely game 1. But the fact that his creature base is so decisive, it's all 4 of those, means that these cards are not in here for random reasons. Andy is proactively building his deck, trying to draw these specific cards.
It has been brought to my attention, Patrick, that it did in fact snow in Seattle yesterday.
All right, well,
so I wish
maybe just want to stay here for a few days.
I wish everyone there the best of luck. Crank those heaters up, folks. Sandstep Citadel will get things started in game number 2. And that was Mystic. Here for Vess. So he's got the Man Acceleration again. Now here's a Thoughtseize. Let's see what Andy's working with. You see a forest, a temple. Let's make it another temple. And a Cetessan Tactics, of course, of Crewfix, and a Chandra Pyromaster. So some cards that do build a little bit of card advantage over time.
Yep, and Joseph with a Drown in Sorrow in hand right now. This hand pretty Drown in Sorrow proof.
Kind of like taking Courser.
I think he has a spot removal spell. He should be taking Chandra, and if he does not, he should be taking the Courser.
All right. Cetessan Tactics is kind of the one that's probably going to stay put.
I would be surprised. Given it could come up that card's good, but given the nature of Andy's hand right now, probably not.
Well, there's a temple. A little scry action. Courser time. Top card, Mystic. Not all that impressive. See Neuman gonna cross off some of the cards that have been played.
And his hand does not seem like he can kill a Courser right now. It's a couple Drowned Sorrows and some Planeswalkers.
Yep.
Kind of an awkward hand.
Top card's a forest. Don't know if it needs any more of those, though, but it will take it. It's a freebie. He's got temples in his hand.
The only cost here is the opportunity cost of not having red mana in play, which, given his hand right now, is not a cost because he has no red spells.
Yeah.
So it's not free for him to take the forest because let's say he draws a Chandra next turn, or there's something along those lines, then he can't cast it, but it's still worth taking the land at this stage.
Elvish Mystic. The draw for the turn was a Courser of Kruphix. So now the question is, if you're Neuman, do you want to deploy Courser, or do you want to cast Drought and Sorrow, take care of these 2 Mystics, and get a little scry action going?
Depends if you think you're going to get a better spot to cast this Drought and Sorrow. I suspect the answer is no. There's also some danger in allowing Andy to have a lot of mana.
Decisions here for Neuman. Down a game playing for top 8.
Yeah.
Want to make sure you get this right.
This is a tough turn. This is very close in my estimation.
Looks like he's asking for a bit of a ruling on something. So our table spotter able to help him. It's a Drown in Sorrow. Take care of the Mystics. Scry. Ashiok, I believe, is what he's looking at. That's going to the bottom. He's already got one of those in his hand. Now an Urborg, giving everybody black mana, but thankfully for him, that doesn't matter for Andy. So Andy will reveal his top card. It's a copy of Stormbreath Dragon. Wooded Foothills was added to the grip. So now it's time for a Rugged Highlands. He'll gain a life. Make it 2 because Courser's out there. Now here's an attack for 2.
And Justice Hand right now, not well suited at all to handle Stormbreath Dragon.
Yeah, it's bad news. Take a draw. Copy of Temple of Malady. There's a Courser for him. Windswept Heath.
Could do a lot worse.
And that's coming in. Trigger, gain a life. Top cards of Plains. But he's in some trouble. Stormbreath it's been really good every time we've watched it.
The number of times I've watched an Abzan deck just randomly not be able to handle it in winning positions is really impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, things like Abzan Charm, Wingmate Rock, Utter End. There's all these times where their answers just don't line up the right way.
I'm just going to pass the turn back. Nothing else to do. Stormbreath's added to the grip. Top cards is Xenagos. We know Vess has a Wooded Foothills in hand, but he's going to play a Temple. So maybe not. Maybe a misread. But
And this is what I referred to earlier as the opportunity cost of playing that forest.
Yeah.
He had an opportunity to develop double red in the event that he ever drew one of his double red spells. And now he's off a turn of playing Stormbreath Dragon, which may be a big deal.
It was a misread by me. At one point, the top card of his deck was actually Rugged Highlands, not Wooded Foothills. Artwork is relatively similar, so I do apologize for that for you guys at home.
Oh, Temple of Malady and Bloodstained Mire, that's been messing me up all day long. Don't feel too bad about it. A lot of those dual lands look pretty similar.
Mana Confluence, and now Elspeth. There is an answer. Timely. And very important, too. If you're Neuman, you know most of the cards in Vess's hand. Of course, the Kruphix does give away the information along with the discard spell early in the game. So you know about the Death and Tactics that's over there. I know this comes as a surprise. 3 mana. Ashiok. It's time to mill ya. Caryatid, the Xenagos, and a Death and Tactics. Now the top card is a Mountain.
Not a bad mill. I'm surprised that 80 wanted to keep a Xenagos on top of the deck to begin with. I guess with the Success and Tactics, there's a dream scenario to build up a board and then tactics everything away, but...
Yeah, I suppose there's always the thought process, right, where drawing a Xenagos is better than just a random draw. No, there's no guarantee of that, but maybe that's the thought process there.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not certain that's actually true in that spot.
Sure. Mountain going to come and play off the top of the deck. Courser of Kruphix is the card revealed to Courser of Kruphix.
And this is a tough spot for Andy. Really, the Stormbreath Dragon is the only thing going on in his hand right now. He knows it's not long for this world, and you can either attack Joseph down to 10 or knock Ashiok down to 1. Neither of those are really that appealing.
Yeah, you're not really that happy to do either, I think. Though, They're just not happy to do either. I take it back.
I guess he could have tried to cash in the tactics.
Yeah, but I mean, you're not excited about that either. That's the thing.
All these plays are D pluses. So a lot of mediocre options available to him last turn.
Might just be Elspeth and minus time. We'll see. I'm going to start by Ashiocking. Then he goes down to the top card of the deck again. See tactics. Its initial cost 2 mana, and then the Strive will be a green every time after that. So
yeah, he was short on mana last turn of being able to pump the one time. And even if he could, it's still not clear he'd want to.
Yeah, you're not thrilled about it. It's just an option.
I think that Ashiok is a nice option for Joseph to have in this matchup because both these decks are going to be a little stumbly out of the gate sometimes, especially post-board where Joseph has access to a lot more removal. And there are a lot of juicy cards for him to flip over at Andy's deck.
Oh. Another Planeswalker here in Elspeth. And yeah, you better believe that elevator's going down, we think. Uh-oh. Perhaps we're changing our mind. Does seem a little risky not to take her that Stormbreath Dragon. Feels like maybe getting a little too cute.
Especially with an opponent representing the ability to go monstrous. I mean,
yeah, I would want to get that thing off the table. You know they can go monstrous. You know he's got a mountain in his hand from the previous turn. So he can go monstrous and take care of everything. Wow.
Whoa. Okay.
Wow. 3 soldier tokens.
I guess he's saying because he has the Hero's Downfall on top of his deck.
Okay.
He still has to spend his entire turn to kill the Elspeth, which is, you know, maybe keeping the Elspeth in play beyond the 3 tokens is not a huge priority. He gets Andy's entire turn, and he gets to untap and downfall it. I still feel he's better served just taking care of it in the clean.
I mean, the thing is, he can kill both Planeswalkers this turn. Yeah, redirect there, that's dead. Attack there, that's dead. And yes, you have a Hero's Downfall, but do you think your 3 soldiers in Corsair and Sorn are good enough? And clearly the answer is yes. That's how he feels about this. Hero's Downfall is the draw. Top card is a Siege Rhino. Things are looking a little better now.
Because the ground was so effectively locked up last turn, just with the Corsair in play, I feel like Joseph could have just minus the Elspeth, put a lot of pressure on Andy to have something that turn to finish off Elspeth. And even then, he's, you know, it's not even like Andy's out of the woods at that point. The game just goes on.
Well, you have to imagine this is going to be Hero's Downfall. But he also does have Sorin and Drown in Sorrow. But there's the Downfall. This is Sorin. We'll see what he's going to do with this Planeswalker. It's going up. And how many are going to come in? That is the question.
There's some value in just plussing and it's starting to attack with at least the tokens because Joseph has a Drown in Sorrow in hand and who knows if that's even going to be productive.
Yep. Top card's a mountain. Just a lot of lands and Xenagos is here for Vess. Mountain's going to come into play. Perforos.
And this is a card that I thought that Andy would sideboard in. Not the easiest thing for this Abzan deck to get off the table. Incremental points of damage can be really valuable even if the game gets locked up.
It's a good weapon, though. Can't argue that, that's for sure.
I suspect it's not really up to much this game, but if Joseph doesn't close things out quickly, that plus Xenagos, if Joseph can't get to it, that's a problem.
Tactics with Strive. Gonna just kill. Looks like a couple of things. I'm just gonna take care of Corsair, so they'll fight, but it's a 3-3.
Yeah, it's actually a 3-4.
Oh, right. Soren on the entire turn. Yep.
I wasn't even a fan of this play to begin with, just because now Andy's shield's down on the Xenagos.
On the Xenagos, sure.
I think he could have just passed, and Joseph making a move there to try to attack the Xenagos down is pretty risky against the tactics plus Andy's ability to control blocks.
Sure.
And now it's free for Joseph to get the Xenagos off the table.
Yeah, that and play the Rhino now and get to work with Soren. He's in the driver's seat now. Rhino's going to come down. Neuman's going to go up to 24. Vess is going to go down 21.
Joseph has the opportunity now if he wants to plus and split up attackers, or minus, make a token and still have his 3 tokens finish off the Xenagos. A lot of flexibility.
That's bad news. Beatdowns. Looks like Xenagos going to bite the dust. I've just been informed that Andrew Shrout did win his match.
5-4, really
It's a
good.
pretty good record, yeah. Got to give it to him.
Way to go.
Top card, Stormbreath Dragon. Porphyros coming in. Follow up, I think, is Xenagos. Yep. Now we can start cranking out Satyr tokens and dealing the opponent too. Or taking down Soren in a match.
Got to start somewhere. The problem is this is kind of the quintessential Abzan mid-range game of the board's kind of gummed up. There's a lot of things going on, and now it's about removal spells, combat, that sort of thing. And Abzan's the best deck in the format of playing that kind of game.
Yeah, that's the kind of game they love to play. So this is heaven for them. See what happens here for Neuman. Drew Soren has had a Drowned Sorrow in his hand for some time now. Drowned Sorrow quite poor on this board.
That's the one thing that's really keeping Andy in this game, is the fact that Joseph's hand's pretty poor.
Yep. Oh, Soren ticks up. There are some pretty good attacks here.
Here's the thing, if you send everything at Xenagos, there's a pretty good chance that one of the blocks that Andy runs here is a courser in front of one of the 2-1 tokens, because it appears to be free. So then the Drown in Sorrow post-combat can be a mess.
There it is. You mentioned it. So that's going to bite this. The question is, are you comfortable casting Drowned Sorrow to kill 2 of your own tokens?
I think so. I mean, he's got an edge here with the Soren. You can also afford to lose the Soren because he has a second one in hand. I guess he's just going to hold down for a little bit.
Mountain.
That seemed like a pretty attractive spot to cast the Drown in Sorrow, but I guess Joseph feels he can wait for a better spot.
I'd be a little scared of Stormbreath Dragon now. That's going to come down. Trigger Porphyros. We'll see where the redirect goes, and it's going to go over to Soren. And now you get to get a little aggressive. And also you've got mana to use Porphyros. And keep in mind, as far as Porphyros' devotion is concerned, it's only 2 away.
Yeah, we're not that far.
We don't see it happen a lot, but it could happen here.
This is another reason that I would have strongly considered using the Drown Sorrow last turn. It seems unlikely going forward that the same opportunity is going to present itself for that setup of, I'm going to get 2 points of damage on your Courser and then be able to take care of it.
Sure.
Now the Drown Sorrow can't kill anything, and his board is just a Stormbreath Dragon and a Courser of Crewfix.
Yeah, so how much better was it going to get?
Yeah.
Well, Neuman on tap. It's time for him to draw a card. Hero's Downfall is timely. That is an answer for the problematic dragon. When he wants to use it is the question. There's Soren again. Gone up to 5. I'm just going to hang back. Rugged Highlands will be the draw. Sylvan Curiata will be the draw next turn, we think, as there's a Temple of Abandon. That's going to go to the bottom immediately.
The temple from 1,000 turns ago
Pretty
finally
much.
gets deployed.
Here's Pelucranos. Probably pretty good with all this mana in play. Perforos may never go live, but it's having an effect on this game.
He's been very good against the Planeswalkers. And this is a much later in the game Perforos with no real token generation going on, too. It could have been a lot more powerful than this, potentially. I think that if we go to a game 3 and Andy's on the play with a Perforos, I think it's going to be really good.
I'm inclined to agree with you. Stormbred Dragon biting the dust from the Hero's Downfall. I think we all saw that coming, though. Soren's up to 6. Hiya! Siege Runner going to come in. It'll deal 5. It'll gain Neuman 5. Newman's still stuck with that Drought and Sorrow, just going to pass the turn back. Vess will draw Pelucranos. Top card, Wooded Foothills. In that comes trigger, gain a little bit of life. Temple of Abandon.
And it wouldn't surprise me if Joseph was trying to get to a point where he'd go ultimate with Sorin.
Yep. Pelucranos. It looks like we have a copy of
It's Utter
End, yeah.
That might be the pre-release promo. I think I know this because I got one of my own. No, this is something else. Yeah, but that looks like an Utter End.
Yeah. Yep. Now we're going to go ultimate with that. So we'll take a look at Sorin.
It's not good news for a green creature deck.
No, probably not. A little emblem.
And Joseph has clearly played this entire game trying to get to this point.
Pretty smart. This is the first time we've seen an emblem with Sorin. And yeah, it's not as hard to get to as you would think. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, well, you gotta sack some stuff. A little monstrosity action here. I suppose we're trying to race, but it's hard to race that when the opponent's at 46.
Well, I think he's also trying to fight for enough where he survives Drown and Sorrow on the way back.
Sure. So looks like just the monstrosity activation. Now Joseph is just going to play land past the turn back. So sacrifice the Wood of Fiddles, does not want to draw a Temple. We know that. Get a land out of the deck. There's a mountain. Shuffle things up and hopefully find a nice one on top. But he'll have to start by sacrificing a creature. Dude, that's Sorin emblem. And that just seems like it's very difficult to overcome for any green deck.
If he had something like, you know, Hornet Queen,
The Nest.
the Nest. Well, the Nest is not, you know, requires some cooperation.
I suppose. Temple of Abandon's on top. It's not a sacrifice. Yeah, that one's the easy one.
Stephen Mann, please report to the main
Draw
stage.
Temple.
Stephen Mann, please report to the main stage.
Play Temple. Take a look at the top card. Leaves that one on top. Red Zone. In for a bunch. But that Pelucranos is going to bite the dust in a little bit. Draw a card. Abzan Charm. In for 4. You said this is the kind of game that Abzan wants to play.
So well suited to handle this. The game's getting played on the board. Most of the spells that are being cast are removal spells.
Rugged Highlands. Stormbred Dragon.
And Andy making a good show of it here, but Joseph's just gained too much life.
I think that's the problem. Yeah, Sorin has done so much. You're going to get the Monstrosity activation. There's an Abzan Charm. And that's fine. Doesn't get to kill Stormbred Dragon. But you can cast that.
Well, now he gets... Does he want to pay 2 and draw 2 cards in response to a Storm Breath monstrosity, or does he want to put some counters on his Rhino?
Yeah. I guess he's going to pay 2 to draw 2. Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. Ooh, a Garrick.
Well, one of those cards is really good. The second Drowning Sorrow in hand doesn't matter that much, but Garrick is going to be Filthy McNasty in just a moment. Can I play Garrick in the Just Guy Ascendancy deck?
Probably not. It's tough on the mana.
All right. I would cast that. That's what I would do if I were Joseph Neuman. I put my opponent into submission with Garrick plus Sorin Emblem.
Yeah, because this is a tough nut to crack right here.
You're so modest this late in the evening. It might be a hard situation to overcome, just maybe.
Yeah, I am feeling this is going to be a challenge.
Garrick, all of those modes destroy another target planeswalker, so it can't kill itself with the axe. Put a 3/3 black beast creature token with Death Touch onto the battlefield. Destroy target creature. You gain life equal to its toughness for -3, and then target opponent gets an emblem. With whenever a creature attacks you, it gets +5/+5 against trample until end of turn. This is one of my favorite cards. We don't ever really get to see it, but boy, do I love it.
I think I would have made a homie there.
Yeah, make a little beast.
I think so.
Yeah, creature's gonna die anyway, but I don't think anyone wants to play anymore. I wouldn't want to try to overcome Garrick plus Sorin Emblem either. So we'll do a third game here between Neuman and Vess. I was on mid-range and Grid Monsters. Your typical green-based matchup in this format.
So Joseph there had some issues with the Drowning Sorrows. There's elements of Andy's deck that card's very good against. There are also a lot of places where that card's bad. I'm curious to see if Joseph's going to go back to the sideboard. He appears to just be shuffling, getting ready to go.
Must be happy with the setup. That's all that can mean. And we'll see. Both players going to get ready here for game number 3. Looks like Andy Vess is going to change a couple things. So while we wait for that, we will talk about Cardboard Crack. Paperback books, 3 of them available at Star City Games now.
Yep, we have the popular black and white web-based comic about Magic the Gathering, now available in paperback book form, on sale at Star City Games right now for $12.99 a piece. StarCityGames.com/cardboardcrack for more information.
Follow them on Twitter. Buy their shirt. Do other stuff too, because they're sweet.
Yep.
I'm a big fan.
Comical, topical.
3 books is so many, too.
It's a lot.
It's a lot of books. Doing something right over there, that's for sure. All the books for Cardboard Crack. I think that this one still favors Abzan.
Yes, I agree. Though, you can easily imagine a game where Joseph draws kind of a slower hand, his reactive cards don't line up the right way, and he gets run out.
Yeah, Stormbreath Dragons and friends. Maybe a little mana curve action of Lucanos and a dragon. Can't keep up. That could happen.
And I think Andy's deck is so much better suited for this matchup post-board. The upgrades he gets, Rabble Masters and Perforos versus his pretty inefficient cards game 1, it's a big deal.
Perforos a big game. Big game.
A little surprised to see Success and Tactics still in his deck. I assume the first cards out would be Success and Tactics and Hornet's Nest. And he's got 6 cards he, I think, wants to actively bring in, which is Rabble Master and Perforos. I think you probably afford to play, 1 Reclamation Sage you could bring in. Not the end of the world.
Okay. Probably some targets.
But I think the Success and Tactics is pretty rough. Feels like a lot more can go wrong than can go right.
We'll see how things do go here for Vess. He's going to be on the play, and I think it's important for him to have a mana accelerant to start off with, be it Mystic or be it Caryatid. You want to get, out of the game pretty early. Break down the doors, try to curve out.
And I think with the more aggressive tilt of Andy's list here, that I think that I would have gone for maybe Rattleclaw Mystic instead of Caryatid.
Yeah?
Although,
want to attack?
Maybe not. His deck's kind of committed to blocking game 1, too. I mean, he's got 4 copies of Hornet Nest. I don't know.
Yeah, to me, it seems like he wants to go up the ground and just fly over you, because he's got 4 copies of Ash Cloud Phoenix, even though we haven't seen one yet, and then 4 copies of Stormbreath Dragon.
Yeah, maybe that's the plan. Just make the ground too hard to attack through.
Maybe. I always think about that if you're supposed to play Caryatid or Rattleclaw Mystic.
Well, I think people default to Caryatid because it's the more powerful card objectively, but I think there's some decks that would be better served having Rattleclaw Mystic instead. I don't know if Andy's is one of those decks. It's close.
Sometimes you just want a 2-1 to give the beats with. Well, it looks like Vess is happy. Neuman is the one who's taking a long look. Those are copies and hostilities.
He's got a 2-land hand that has
Oh, boy.
the Garrick in it too.
Well, right off the top is the temple.
So you are already a mulligan with this hand. And then how good is this hand if you draw perfectly? I guess it's okay. I think that one should have gone back.
We're going to find out, aren't we?
Yeah. The temple off the top is the perfect draw.
Yeah. There's a carry added, pass the turn back, the draw, another temple. I think this hand is kept solely off the back of, I have 2 lands and an Abzan Charm, so that can draw me into something, and then Hostilities is the game breaker.
And Hostilities is a huge incentive. That card's very powerful against Andy. But if Andy does something like Accelerate into Xenagos, Joseph has no answer to that.
We're going to see if that happens now in just a second. There's Wooded Foothills. Mountain.
I love Andy's definitive numbers on this list.
I like a deck list with 4s.
Yep.
He knows what he wants. He wants his Xenagos. This is what you talked about. In for 2. This is hard for Neuman. The draw, a Sorin. There is a Windswept Heath. Pass the turn back. Vess will untap and draw.
And Vess has got some powerful leftover in his hand, too. This is not the only action he's got. He's got a Chandra, an Ash Cloud Phoenix, a Storm Breath Dragon.
He's got the goods. Rabble Master's pretty good, too. He could even plus with Xenagos post-combat, maybe even do something even more crazy. We'll see. Thumbs up. Goblin token. Yeah, that's what I think his plan is. Because he could have made a Satyr token there, obviously.
Yeah.
And he's not doing that. So that means that Xenagos, I have to imagine, is going upstairs. Yep. 4. And now we're going to see something. It's a copy of Chandra, so another Planeswalker.
And this is great for Andy because he's just continuing to advance the board without playing into any particular sweeper.
Yeah, and Chandra is really, really good on this board, too. I like it a lot, given that we know what's in Joseph's hand. He's going to press the 0 button for a mountain.
I could never give up the free point.
Yeah, I couldn't either.
I mean, good on Andy. It's probably better for him to try to hunt for a land there than deal 1, but...
I'm more scared of the card I'm going to turn over when I'm on camera.
Sure.
Oh, there goes the Stormbreath Dragon. Your turn.
So you and I make the same play, but for different reasons.
Yeah.
You're worried about flipping over something powerful, and I just can't give up a point of damage.
Yeah, I just need that point. I'm going to be too upset if Stormbreath bites the dust.
So is Joseph's first play of this game going to be draw 2 for 3 mana on the draw with Abzan Charm?
I think the answer is yes. Forest and Hostilities number 2. If he can make it there, and Siege Rhino will help him do that.
And this is the issue. Joseph kept a hand that was pretty unwieldy on the back of End Hostilities.
Mm-hmm.
And the way this game is shaping up, End Hostilities might not even be that good.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the big problem. Rhino's going to come down and try to stabilize things, but Chandra even says, hey, you don't get the block. There's a land. Now, for what it's worth, these players played a very long game number 2, and now still does not show its face.
Yes, it's true. Though, most of these lists have at least 2 copies hanging out in the 75.
Some sort of mass removal effect, be it Doom Blast and Hostilities. Mass Calcify we've seen before, but End Hostilities is picking up in popularity so much, in fact, that we've started to see it even in main decks.
Yeah.
So, right there with you.
So I think it's just really important for Andy to measure his threats here.
And you don't want to extend too much.
Because he's got such an overwhelming force in play right now that Joseph's hand's forced.
Yeah.
He needs to have a sweeper to keep up.
And this is so much damage, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that's 9, 10 points of damage. And you can afford to do this, which I love as well.
This is beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, and Hostilities, great. Keep my morph. Stormbreath Dragon still left over with 5 mana.
Yeah, and he's at 4, so Ash Cloud Phoenix would die, but it would come down as a morph. and then he can make a Seder token with Xenagos. And you know, you correctly identified it where if his draw is Xenagos on turn 3, it's a nightmare for Neuman's hand.
Yeah, I just think that Joseph's hand was not very good to start out with, and it contained the Garrick, so it's already a mulligan. So then what's the value of that hand on 6 cards? I think there's just too many things that can go wrong.
This is a little bit interesting here, where he's able to Neuman get him to block, and now Anasilius is going to clean everything up, but he's going to show him a Stormbreath Dragon and say it doesn't matter. Andy Vess going to win this match here over Joseph Neuman. 2-1. Grunard Monsters will down Obs on mid-range, and for Vess, with any luck, he'll be able to draw into elimination rounds for tomorrow morning.
Very impressive deck here from Andy, outside of the box, but clearly